since I've been able to call you a friend. You've been so elusive, I've been wanting to touch base again, but I feel I can't. I feel my water has run dry. Been wanting to reach you, but there's emptiness inside, so I start to try.
Hey everybody, welcome to Utah Music Producers. I'm Rich Bischoff, and today I am at Audio In Recording with the amazing Eric Lowe. Eric,
Nice
dude, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I was talking to Eric earlier. He has an amazing studio here in Salt Lake that he started about, 2-3 years ago?
2-3 years ago, yep.
And he is a scientist, I just found out.
That's correct.
So I think the studio speaks to like kind of what his thinking is and kind of how you, like what was your idea when you started doing recording and
Everything. All started, it's really all stemmed from if I'm unhappy with what's currently out there,
right.
I will essentially implement what I think should be out there. And
Right.
so that kind of started with guitar amps, right? So I bought my first nice high-end Vox amplifier, and it went out of service, and I had to go around town looking to get it fixed, and ended up getting gypped. Where they fixed it, but they put in really cheap components and
yeah.
tubes, and I paid a lot of money.
like you didn't know what they were going to do?
Yeah, exactly. And they kind of took advantage of that, right? They're like, oh, this guy doesn't know, and
Yeah.
he just wants it fixed, and so we'll just throw in whatever,
Right.
And then that really irked me, and so I was like, how hard are vacuum amplifiers? Like, what's really going on behind here, right?
Yeah.
And turns out it's like engineering 101. It's electronics 101, right? It's
Right.
like as simple as it gets. Pretty much, right? You can point-to-point wire everything. There's really nothing complex about it.
Yeah.
It's not like you're building a computer silicon chip, right? And so turns out that all the circuit diagrams of every single amp is available. So everything is now patent-free.
Yeah.
Leo Fender designed these things, 60, 70 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Marshall, Orange, all of those guys.
So you can make your own.
I can make my own. And that's when the light bulb clicked. And I was like, oh, so on top of being able to service my own amps, I'm just going to build my own amps. And that even unveiled another curtain of everything that I'm buying right now, and I'm paying top dollar for, I'm getting very low quality components, right? So
Right.
It wasn't until I started building out my own amps and recording equipment that I was sourcing resistors, capacitors, and all the components, and I'd open up that box and I'd be like, I know where you got this, and this is a bottom of the barrel, as cheap as you can get
Really?
component, right?
Wow.
This is 0.00001 cent on the market.
So it's like all about making. Excuse me. It's all about making money. For them.
Absolutely, right? And that's what dawned on me. And it makes sense, right? These guys are big companies. They're brands now, right?
Yeah.
Fender, Vox, Marshall. They can make anything, and people will buy it just because of the name.
So
And
maybe back in the day they were using better parts, but they found that they could get them cheaper by doing it a certain way.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that completely fell apart, since Leo Fender kind of let control of the company go, right? So after Baldwin Piano bought Fender, and then it went through all these different hands.
Right.
And essentially the hands it's been switching to are corporate businesses. And
It's marketing and
yeah.
money.
And
Yeah.
their primary goal isn't music. Their primary goal is bottom line and making as much profit as possible.
And I think that's why you see a lot of these boutique amp builders these days that actually are doing really well.
Absolutely,
People
yeah.
are willing to pay the money because they know what they're getting. And stuff.
Well, you pay the same price, right? So you
Yeah.
can pay $3,000 for a boutique amp built to your specs.
Right.
And you can pay $3,000 for the same amp that you can buy from Guitar Center,
Yeah.
Fender, right? Any Fender or Marshall. And the difference is, one, you are supporting a local builder. So someone, you know the builder personally. And two, it's way higher end, right? So you're not paying for that brand name anymore. And that's where probably $2,500 of the $3,000 is going is to support that brand name and all the marketing they have to do to keep that brand name going.
Yeah.
And the $500 is probably going to the actual parts, labor, and everything else. And so what you're really getting at the end of the day is not really what you were paying for, right? Well, on the reverse side with the boutique builder, that $2,000 probably went into time, labor, and components and everything, right?
Yeah.
And then the other $1,000 is just helping, him offset his costs of running his small little business and trying to fight the big guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So then you start. So some of these amps out here.
Yep.
You built them. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
You also mentioned that you built your own microphones.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So another curtain was unveiled, right? Was like, oh, almost all the music gear we revere and pay top dollar for is vintage equipment, right? So compressors, what's the biggest top end compressor that comes to mind?
1176.
Vintage. Mm-hmm. I have the schematics for that. Preamps.
Right.
What? Neve.
Neve. Yeah.
API.
Mm-hmm.
I have all the schematics for all of those. I can build every single one of those components and outfit this entire studio with every single one of those. The only difference is I'm not paying an absurd price for the vintage. It's rare and they're revered, right? And so that's the market value for them.
Oh yeah.
But I'm
the name when people see it. Oh, it's API. It's Neve. It's
exactly.
Whatever.
Yep. And so I'm offsetting that cost though, but essentially, I can buy all those components today still. Nothing is unavailable. The only one tricky part is the microphone that I built is a AKG C12. So one of their vintage spec mics. And I even found there's only 2 people in the entire world who are able to actually make the diaphragm 100% to spec back in the 70s. Yep, so that's another thing, right? Cool. So you can buy the AKG C12 today for about $5,000 to $7,000. Wow. But same thing. AKG is now a brand, and that microphone that they're selling you, this reissue microphone, is nowhere near
what it was.
And it's because they've offset their prices. They gone cheaper diaphragm, gone cheaper components.
It looks the same on the outside.
Exactly.
The inside's not the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so when you A/B it, you're just like, this doesn't sound quite the same, but because it has its brand and its name, I think your brain's able to, convince yourself that it's close enough.
Yeah.
But again, when I, kind of dived into all the details and tore it apart, the 2 guys who can do it, one's in the Netherlands and one's in the US, they have sourced all the original materials and they only build these diaphragms like 10, 12 a year. They don't go crazy. And they know that the demand's high and that they can go super slow about it and charge an arm and a leg for it, right?
Yeah.
And so the diaphragm, I'm paying close to almost $700 for that diaphragm. And that right there is a very expensive, nice mic on the market, right? But that's just my diaphragm. That's one piece of the entire thing. Right. So you can just imagine now that if I'm buying all the other components at a very, making sure all the other components are really high end, that the end product now. So a vintage AKG C12 on the market actually runs for about $15K.
Yeah.
But it's not costing me anywhere near that price point, right?
Yeah.
And so that's been the beauty is, so that's kind of what I found out is everything that we want in the studio, outboard gear, hardware is all vintage spec. There's nothing really new that's solid state that we really care much for, right? Like most of that stuff can just be in the computer then.
I know.
And there's really no need to have anything taking up rack space digitally.
Right.
And so then it's like, okay, so then let's build a hybrid studio. Let's have all the analog stuff that we love and revere
on the front end,
and then all the easy
plugins and stuff
on the back end, and that that there is something to be said about the computer era that we're in, right? Things are a lot easier, a lot quicker, more efficient. I wouldn't say it's more affordable. I think it's gone kind of the opposite.
Things are starting to get pricier, actually.
Yeah, or you have to pay
to some extent. There's these companies that are actually doing the everything bundle type stuff,
subscription based,
but then you don't really own anything.
Nope. Yeah, that's the issue now. Yeah.
And so you have to figure out I'm going to be in business for how long?
Yeah.
How much am I going to pay over the years?
Yeah.
You have to kind of do all the math.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, yeah, back in the day, you could buy a LA2A compressor.
It was yours.
And that's good.
Maybe get it serviced every now and then.
Yeah,
but,
that's good for till now. You know, if you took good care of that thing, it's still probably up and running and doing its job.
Which, I think that's one of the reasons I fell in love with recording was all the outboard side of it and just the history of the gear and seeing all these studios and what they use and the fact that it's all getting remodeled into the computer. Right. Everyone's trying to do that.
Yep. So absolutely.
It's all fun, and I love that. And this is probably my favorite chair that I've ever interviewed in.
Yeah. I know.
Anyways, also the other thing that when I first reached out to Eric was he has in his studio, which this is the first studio that I've been to that has this, is a vinyl lathe, a record cutter. And so we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Cool. Yeah, I'll give you a little rundown of it.
And we're gonna, I think he said he's gonna like actually cut me a
record. We're gonna make a record for you, Rich.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
So I sent him 2 songs of my own. And that was really hard because like, what do I want on vinyl?
Yeah, this is it.
This is it.
Because you can't ever order from us.
Yeah. So I would. I honestly like. I'm working on an EP right now, so I'm thinking about maybe.
Cool.
Like, what's the price of like a run of like, I don't know, 50.
So that's kind of where, you know, we are more expensive than your typical pressing vinyl prices, right? And that's just supply and demand, right? It's basic arithmetic, where they require you to at least order a minimum of 300 vinyls. Right. And so when you add that up, sure, you're paying $10 a vinyl, but you need $3,000 to put in. Yeah. And then the other question is how are you going to move 300 of these vinyls to get your money back, right? That's a lot of vinyl to move.
And even though vinyl is kind of making a comeback, I don't think it's moving that quick.
Yeah, I agree.
It is cool though. It's like a novelty thing.
Yeah, exactly.
People are buying records and
so
players.
Yep, exactly. And I think and I have a theory about all that as well. But back to ours. So we are kind of targeting the niche market of short run, right? So musicians and record lovers who would love to have a vinyl for themselves or for their bandmates, a couple friends, and that's about as far as that list gets.
Right. Yeah.
And it's exactly for that novelty, right? To have that physical, tangible medium in your hand that's better than a CD. Yeah. And that you can put on the wall, that you could put in a jacket and any day pull out and be like, this is my music on here, you know? Yeah. And, with ease of use. Yeah, exactly. Like digital is great because it can store so much, but it gets lost, right? And it becomes meaningless almost. It's on there and you're just like, yeah, whatever.
I grew up listening to 45s and 8-track tapes when I was a kid. This was the 70s, right? And then I got to see it go to cassette tapes.
Sure.
Which that's what I pretty much grew up in high school. That's what we listened to was cassette tapes.
Yep.
As I moved into college, it was CDs. Well, maybe a little bit before college, but it's interesting to see it all come full circle,
right? Yeah, so absolutely. Yeah. I know, because it's I think one thing that was peculiar, this is kind of a tangent, is so you look at media with like video games, right? And CD and DVDs became the highest. But now we have like solid state storage that are becoming even bigger capacity than CDs. And so like Nintendo, they've gone back to cartridges.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that's where they like started, right? And here we are back to cartridges again, and they can store way more than a DVD can, and it'll last way longer. And yeah, exactly. Full circle. Yeah. So with our vinyls though, we do charge a little bit more. So with a 12-inch, you're paying about $24 per vinyl. Gotcha. And then the price tiers down, differing on the size.
Yeah.
But what we charge is right? So a lot of other lathe cutting vinyl manufacturers, they charge not only by the vinyl, but by the time and all these metrics. And so I've just kind of built all that in, and it's just an easy $24 and it covers the whole process, right? One thing to note is, with the lathe cutter, we had to stand there and watch the vinyl being cut, right? So it's the time issue. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We can't press these out and just come back and you'll have a stack of 50 ready to go.
It's time.
So yeah, if your album's 30 minutes, times that by 50, and that's how much time we're spending here cutting each one.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, how long does it take?
Yeah.
Does it take as long as it takes to play the song, to cut it?
Absolutely, yeah, it does.
All right. Well, cool, man. Well, let's talk about. I want to take a tour of the studio here.
Okay.
Let's talk about what you're using for monitors and maybe why you chose the Yamahas.
Yeah. So, it's funny. So I started out with JBLs.
I see those sitting over there.
Yeah, I kind of thought JBLs kind of had
That
their game on point and everything. And initially, kind of, I guess everything I started out with was misguided. And so
you can't believe all the reviews you read on Google.
Yeah. And so then it turns out we, had engineers in here, and a lot of them weren't happy with the JBLs. And so I was like, okay, what's great on the market? And Yamaha's, the NS10's established an entire, I think, a new benchmark, right, for what monitors and the price points and everything that you're getting for. And they haven't really stopped, So originally I was looking at vintage NS10s, and I was going to just pick those up. They have an established track record. Right. You can talk to any engineer, artist, and they'll just say, these are one of the best monitors they've ever worked with.
Which, coming up as a musician and going to lots of studios when I was young, and even as soon as the internet became something where you could look at other studios on the computer.
Okay.
All you saw was those NS10s.
Really? Okay, yeah.
And so I was just like, I need to get NS10s. But then when you find out that they didn't make them anymore,
right,
and how much they cost to get one,
right,
to get them, it was like, for most musicians, it was out of their reach. Mm-hmm. And so, anyway.
So exactly, and so they've re-released, right, these HS series. You have HS 5, 7, 8, and that's just the bigger, different sizes.
Which I mix quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And I got the HS5s.
Okay.
I have a smaller... My mix room, maybe it's this size. It's maybe a little smaller.
Okay. I think these are a little bit maybe overkill.
Too big for it. Yeah. That's okay. They probably have good low end. I have a sub that I use with mine.
Gotcha.
But I will vouch for these HS series because I was mixing on another pair of monitors for a lot of years, and I got these, and all of a sudden my mixes, I'd go in the car, I was like, there's nothing really to fix.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There really wasn't.
Yeah, I know.
And so I do a lot of tracking too, and I'll track on some other monitors, and I'll do a lot of listening on maybe like some KRKs I have. Mm-hmm. But when I go to mix, to do the real mix down and just all the detail, I'm for the price. Yeah. And I've talked to other guys that use these. Yeah. They do it. They really do.
It really is, right? It's kind of that price point and performance
without having to spend thousands for atoms or
I think even then like the lower end atoms are still not that much better than these, and I think it's like you have to go even higher, right? Like up to the $20,000 monitors that like now these, but then it's like I'm paying $20,000, I better hear a difference than $400 ones.
Anyway, so monitors, and then are you using Pro Tools?
So we, since I have a bunch of different engineers working in the studio, everyone has different preferences for, so I think, Pro Tools has always been the industry standard, but Logic 10 is also an up and coming competitor, and I think a lot of new engineers are really familiar with that DAW these days. So we run Pro Tools, Logic, Ableton, and Reaper.
Cool.
For others.
Reaper, that's what I use.
Yeah, there's some.
I'm a Reaper guy. I think it's just because I started using it back when it first came out. Okay. I just never. I got to know it so well.
Sure.
I'm just like, I'm not gonna
and that's what happens, right? Is you get to know your DAW, and you don't want to change. And honestly, the same guys who made Pro Tools made Reaper, so.
Yeah, weren't they like the engineers that worked for Pro Tools, and he started his own company? Yeah.
So you're getting the same thing for way
less,
cheaper,
and not having to pay like some kind of subscription for it.
You don't have to buy a USB key to run your own software.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I might buy you a new chair, man.
I should just get that fixed.
All right, so tell me what you're using for your interface and.
Yep. So all we're doing here is just using a Universal Audio Apollo 16 to route as our ADDA converter. And we're currently using a Mackie as our preamp for our mixing.
Right.
And then the next goal is to actually outfit these boxes. So like I said earlier, you know, I have access to essentially API need preamps, SSLs. And so the idea is eventually to build out these boxes and then to convert these boxes into where that mixer is. And so essentially you'll have a whole 3 sets of strips full of all different types of preamps, and you can just go nuts. So you'll have a bay full of APIs, and within that bay of APIs you'll have every single flavor that they ever came out with, and the next bay will be Neves, and you'll have any type of flavor.
Right.
And then you can just mix and match, and each mic can go to a different pre. You can have pre's going to different pre's, and you can really just...
So how far away is that?
Not too far. So I'm working on getting the API bank built right now.
Cool. And so you're building them yourself?
Yep.
Cool.
Just wiring it up.
So let me just... So really the only thing you have in there right now, it looks like...
It's just a radial. Yeah, it kind of just came with the box.
Okay.
And I even actually found the schematics for these boxes. And so we probably won't be buying any more of these. And I'll just be building
the lunch
boxes from here on out as well.
I might have to hit you up sometime.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe I can get some... I don't know.
Yeah. No, it'll be better quality and either equivalent pricing or a little bit cheaper.
Cool. And then...
So pretty simple, really.
Little patch bay, and then... is this a compressor?
That's a headphone monitoring system.
Yeah,
yep.
Actually, why did I ask that? I have that exact same one in my studio. I think it just looks different in someone else's rack.
Sure. Yeah. It's kind of hidden a little.
Different things on it. Anyway, how do you like the Apollo?
It's been great. The Apollo has performed really, really well. You know, the only other competitor that I would evaluate would be the Dante PreSonus Fire.
Yeah, it's the Fire Studio stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Just because of its capability to almost allow different studios, right? So if we're thinking about opening up a Studio B on the other side of the building.
Kicking out the bikers?
No, so we have 2 other rooms.
I have to tell everybody that this studio is next to a bike shop.
That's right. So if you're going to try and rob me.
There's some tough signs. Like when I was coming into this today, there's some signs that say something like, nothing in here is worth life.
Yep. Exactly. That's right. Anyway. And our guard dog sign.
Yeah.
The 2 friendliest dogs ever.
Yeah. Cool. Well, all right. Let's go look.
Let's take a little tour. Yeah. So yeah, this is a Yamaha recording custom from the 80s. And it's a pre-Yes. So this drum set, the history behind this is essentially Yamaha came out with this kit and then it dominated the entire decade, 80s to 90s of rock and roll music.
Really? So if I hit these drums, it'll sound like the 80s?
Yep. Does, doesn't it?
I heard some 80s in there.
Oh yeah, this snare. Just give this snare a good hit.
Yeah. What kind of snare is it?
It's a Yamaha snare.
There you go. Sounds good.
Sounds really good, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man.
And so yeah, you know, it's one of those we've had DW kits through here. We've had Sonar, we've had Rogers, and then we ended up with Yamahas. And it just turns out.
I was just telling Eric I've got the stage customs. These are the recording customs, and he was saying that maybe the woods
should be different. So these are birch, right? So these are like 6 or 7 ply birch.
Yeah.
I believe stage customs, and I could be wrong, drummers out there, that those are oak, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they probably are. These look a little different to me. So. Yeah,
and so another cool thing is, you know, back in the day, they actually stain the inside the same color as the outside. And so I know for a time period
because mine aren't like that.
They're not, okay.
Mine have the wood look on the inside.
Yeah. So they kind of just stopped doing that for a period of time, and now they're bringing it back. And so, you know, again, full circle. These manufacturers got it right pretty much the first time, and then we've tried all these new things, different bearing edges, different craftsmanship, and back to how they used to build them. And so they've re-released these recording customs. They want a lot for it now.
Do they really?
Yeah, they want like about $6,000.
Good you got them, dude.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, so let's I was going to ask you while we're at it. Looks like you kind of built some.
Our track system?
Some bass traps.
Yeah, so our gobos. Our gobos are a design of mine. And so the idea was to make the studio really versatile, right? So we can have these gobos up and you can soundproof the walls as you would normally. But you can remove them and you can move them as needed, right? So they're on this track and I can place them anywhere I need. But they come off the wall.
Oh yeah, cool. I didn't even know this. This is kind of cool to see.
Yep.
You just got like a little wood.
Just a little French cleat on the back. And then these gobos are standalone, so they're stackable. So you can take...
That's genius. This guy's a scientist.
As many gobos as you want, stack them, and you can really essentially build a room within a room. And you can sound ISO as you need, and it has the advantages of just being stored out of the way, and it's serving multiple purposes, and we love things that do multiple things.
Yeah, see, and this is why I like doing these videos, is because I learned something.
Yeah.
There's something new that someone's
I've
doing.
actually released my designs for these, so if you want a copy of it, you can give it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Seriously. Cool, because I need to do some stuff with my mix room too. So
yeah, and so and they're you can make them as beautiful or as raw as you want. Does take quite a bit of time to finish them like this, but you can have it raw, and I think raw looks pretty cool too.
Yeah.
But yeah, they work really, really well.
Cool. And just what do you have? What do you just other than the RLX stuff on the front? What do you have on the inside? Just some 703.
So it's the equivalent of that, just the Roxol Safe and Sound.
Yeah.
Just because the 703 is kind of harder to purchase locally.
Yeah.
So Roxol Safe and Sound, I think, has the same performance as the 703, and you can buy it locally at your Home Depot in any quantity you need. So it's a lot easier, and they actually come in pre-cut bats, and so it's really, really easy just to put them into the box and get everything situated.
Nice.
But yeah, and then usually most designs, they just have a screen over the soundproofing, but I felt that adding diffusion, especially if you're going to hang them up on the walls, just
might
adds.
as well have it. Yeah.
But you can design, different versions of these boxes, right? And so you have some with diffusion, some with absorption, really just handle your sound characteristics. Just a French cleat.
Just something that you just screwed it into the studs. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Nice.
So this is our little keyboard corner. Here you've got a nice Roland Juno. Junos back in the day, older vintage ones had really cool sounds with them. Or? No, this is like a 2000s.
Oh, is it?
But it's, still a great keyboard. It's still got a lot of cool sounds. And this is when Roland was playing with these ideas of having chips. And so they had the Phantom X engine built in, and you can buy these additional chips to load in sound packs and everything. And I was able to get my hands on their super rare keyboard chip. And so that's in this unit. And so this one has about 1,000 other additional synths and keyboard sounds that you wouldn't find just on the keyboard.
Just off eBay or what?
I had to buy it from Japan. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I was like, didn't realize how rare it was until I was looking for it. And I was like, I can only order it direct from Roland in Japan. Like, got to get it before they just discontinue these completely.
Yeah. Roland, my first digital recorder.
Cool. Yeah. And I think they're still a great brand.
Yeah, they are.
And then over here you got a vintage Rhodes, an 88. It's a Mark II, so 1970s. And, any Doors fans or fans of that era, right? Yep.
Yeah.
It's all Rhodes, right? And it really set kind of a new soundscape for keys for a good long time. Yeah. This one I've combed through and replaced every single hammer felt, every hammer tip, damper felts, and redid all the keys. So this era, the keys are still wood, so the new ones are plastic now. And so you open this up and there's still these beautiful wood keys, and it's got the suitcase 4x12 speakers on it. Anyone who's played a Rhodes knows how fun they are and how amazing they sound.
Move, though.
No, it's it just stays
and
there.
Then
you got a little Hammond organ, or not a Hammond, Magnus, yeah.
Is it like a pump organ or what kind of?
No, it's just like an electric chord organ.
Cool.
It's kind of, Magnus, just a fun little toy.
Cool.
Really.
Yeah.
This is our pedal rack, right? Here we've got kind of flavors from all sorts of different brands.
TC Helicon.
Yeah, so voice processors, electro-harmonics, a bunch of electro-harmonics, right? So we got pegs, we have reverb.
Is this your pedal board?
Yes, both of these are. This is for my gigs. I used 2.
Nice. What's this unnamed? Is this something you built?
Yes.
Unnamed red?
So my unnamed red controls my other unit, which is not here. So this controls my
it's like
tape.
a switcher.
Yeah, it controls my tube tape echo.
Oh, cool.
So it's one of those vintage TTEs. So it's running it's a real true tape delay.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Sounds really, I don't have it here just because it's being serviced right now, but
remind me what the Holy Grail is.
reverb.
Oh, reverb, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then Fulltone, I'm a really big fan of Mike Fulltone's products. He just shares that same mentality and cares about every component to the point. He's actually a little bit.
Is Fulltone the OCD pedal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So we have that.
I've got one of those.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You've got one back there too.
But yeah, he's even more OCD about his stuff where like foot switches, the current foot switches on the market weren't up to his standards. And so he built his own. And
Cool.
they're, more robust, quieter. And
you've got a
looper. Yeah, like our, whammy that everyone loves.
There's actually a lot of pedals on here that I wish I had.
You're more than welcome to play, yeah.
Like I think Eric's picked some of the most
notable ones. Yeah. You even have some Strymon.
Strymon,
have a Capistan. We have a custom built one here.
Cool.
This is a nice distortion pedal. And then this one's really, really cool. So this company has essentially been able to outfit an LA2A compressor into a pedal.
Wow.
And so, you have essentially a tube in here, and it has the same characteristics and
Especially
responses.
for electric guitars, that just kind of fattens them all up.
Oh, yeah. And so it's, bring that recording gear
So
out onto the board.
What is this company?
It is called...
Do you care if I pull it off?
No, go for it. Is it on there still? I can't remember.
It's Photo Optical Tube Compressor Model PC2A.
Yeah,
It doesn't... right here.
I think that's just
Triode Class A. It doesn't say the brand.
I can't remember the brand.
Sorry,
Off the top of my
everybody.
head. Yeah. So essentially, look up PC2A, and that's essentially their alternative
pedal.
name to LA2A. So you have compression. You have MXR Dynacomps. These are kind of your awesome, cheap, affordable pedals for a compressor, right? Which just does the basics. But this big boy will kind of fatten it
Nano
up.
clone.
Yep, we have the Nano, we have the Neo.
Yep, back there.
Got both of those. A couple Boss pedals here and there that are fun to play with.
The TC Helicon stuff's kind of fun for vocal stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we have that,
I've got a few
like,
of those.
the distortion one here that gives you the
Yeah.
megaphone and all that.
Yeah. Cool, man.
It's good for psychedelic.
And then this is your
This is our ISO booth.
ISO booth.
Yep.
The light works really well in here.
Let's give it a sec. I guess I should have turned everything on.
It's cold. It's cold, guys. It's good that it's cold, though,
Yeah.
And I noticed you don't have any of your microphones set up. Do you have like a mic locker that we can check out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go in
I'm
here.
going to warm this up first and then do the mic.
Let me, let's see what we can get in here. Oh, cool. Is that your first guitar? Wait, how long have you been playing again?
I've been playing since I was in 9th grade, so 14, so over like 15 years.
15 years, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. What's your favorite kind of music?
Psychedelic rock.
Like funk and stuff?
Like
Pink Floyd
yeah,
stuff?
yeah, exactly. It's like Pink Floyd,
Yeah.
Black Angels, Black Keys,
Okay.
White Stripes, all those classic guys. I guess they're like classics now.
Cool.
Now today I'm listening to electronic, honestly.
What do you think of how the 80s sounds are all starting to come back?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, me neither.
I was expecting it and kind of waiting for it to pop out.
It's all of a sudden, boom. It's getting big.
Funk is back, right? And you kind of see it, and it's almost as I'm getting older, just it's such a predictable pattern almost, right? Like growing up, that was what was fashionable in my time, was like 70s, 60s rock and roll, right? So you're listening to Jimmy and all those guys, and then now it's hitting the 80s and
all the sampled drum sounds from the 80s are coming back.
Yep.
And the synthy sounds.
Yep, the guitar work.
Even like the clean guitar from the 80s. I'm just like, wow, it's coming. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I love it. It's good.
It is good. It is good. And it brings back, for me, because I'm old, it's a lot of nostalgia for me.
Yeah, sure.
Like I'll hear a new band and I'm just going, wait a minute.
I know.
That sounds like Duran Duran to me.
Yeah. That's
so,
the...
so maybe a younger kid that never was exposed to that.
They're like blown away.
Blown away by it.
Yeah.
So.
That was kind of the comment with like Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Was their mixtape was all music from like 80s and stuff, and everyone was like, "This stuff is amazing," and everyone was just like, "You don't know who these guys are?"
Which is good. I think it's good to introduce that generation to
old me. What was
like my daughter's 14, and the stuff that she's telling me that she likes sounds like the old 80s stuff.
Cool. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you're
That's
like,
good.
hey, I love it. Let me show you like even more
taste.
stuff that you'll like. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about
our amp wall or piano.
Real quick here, what do you got here?
Another Yamaha is in the house, and so this one is actually built in Japan. This is the piano I grew up on. So I've been playing piano for...
Your mom's?
This is my family's piano.
Really?
This is the family's piano right here.
Did you have to buy it from the family, or did you say, "Hey, I'm taking this"?
This is like my piano, right? So I've been playing on this since I was 5, and I'm the only one in the family that plays.
Are you originally from around here?
I am. My parents are from Taiwan.
Taiwan. Okay.
So this is a Japanese-built piano. So not a lot of those are still available. Where I believe they had it special ordered, so they had like the U.S. version here, and they're like, no, we want the Japanese brand. And so it's a U1 upright Yamaha. This thing sounds beautiful. Nice. It records really, really well.
I usually make an idiot of myself by playing the pianos in the studios, but I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
All right. And then it looks like we've got, is this a guitar or a bass amp right here?
Guitar. So you got...
Ampeg.
That's a guitar amp.
Okay.
It's a Trax amp, so it's got essentially 3 different preamps in it, and kind of allows you to dial in your tones anywhere from clean to nice, dirty crunch.
Nice.
And then here's the Vox that I was talking about a lot earlier, the AC30.
These cheap Voxes.
Yeah,
cheap
I know. Yeah, so actually that's one of my to-dos is to actually gut this thing and build it the way it's supposed to be built and just use the cabinet.
Right. That's cool though.
But yeah, essentially, I bought this and I was never really happy with the tones 100%, and now I know why. Because I'm not really getting the tones I should be getting.
With the real vintage.
What Vox AC30 was known for, right? And so,
So are you saying that I shouldn't buy a Vox off the
I think you should
Guitar
look
Center floor?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you should look for a boutique maker.
Okay.
Or just buy a vintage Vox.
Vox, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and I think that's what's been happening, right? Is you look at a lot of guitar players and studio owners, and they buy vintage amps. That's what they're looking for, right? They're kind of avoiding the new stuff because I think everyone's kind of catching on. The new stuff isn't that great.
Yeah.
We don't even talk about that. Yeah. This Mesa Boogie's awesome. This is our bass amp here, and this thing is a beast.
Sweet,
you want to rock out, this is the amp to do it with. This will break your back as well. Super heavy, and it's a solid.
And then it just looks like a Bassman.
This is one of my amps.
Yeah, this is what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, so this is actually built off of a Fender Deluxe Reverb.
Now, do you have a brand name for your amps?
Sure, it's so you'll see my logo everywhere. It's called Old Growth Tone.
Old Growth Tone. Okay.
Yep. And so you'll see my insignia stamped everywhere.
We'll have to look.
You haven't seen it yet? It's on those boxes.
Oh yeah.
I'll get a shot of it. Yeah. So this one is built off of a Deluxe Reverb, with a couple of changes I chose on my end. So this is built off of the blackface circuitry, which I don't know if you know much history about Fender amps.
A little bit.
Okay, so blackface circuitry was like the almost tone pinnacle, right? So it sounded the best. The issues with it back then was it was noisy, so you know it was kind of hard to record. But tone-wise, I mean, it doesn't get any smoother and butterier than that circuitry series.
I almost want to plug into this before we
We should.
before we leave.
Yeah, I'll pull out some of our nice guitars. So after, you know, with Fender's history, they got acquired by Baldwin Piano, and at that point, Baldwin was saying, you know, the circuitry design is too unreliable. It's costing us way too much. We need to come up with something cheaper and not better, but equivalent, right? And so they came out with the Silverface, and so you'll see the Silverface series, and that's essentially what's been from that time period till now. Silverface is good, but it's, you know, it's missing some of the tonal qualities of the Blackface. And so essentially all my amps, I choose the Blackface circuitry, and I fix the issues that it had before where, you know, the rectifier tubes would blow out a lot quicker. And, you know, just with current electronic know-how, all those issues they had back then are gone now. So this thing is super quiet, super clean, and super reliable.
So just out of curiosity, what it cost you to build your own?
To build my own, just components, not including time, this was about $500.
$500.
Yeah. And this cabinet was before I knew how to do any woodworking, which I have now since built a woodworking shop. And so I can actually build my own cabinets. And so this was just a pre-made cabinet that I ended up purchasing, which I wasn't really happy with. So exactly, it's one of those, not happy with it, so I got to figure out how to do it myself.
Yeah. Hughes and Kettner.
Yeah, so we got the twin sisters here. So we got two Hughes and Kettner tri-amps, and these amps are beasts. They essentially have every functionality you would want in an amp, and so it's perfect for a recording environment where we get different musicians with different genres, and this covers our entire
Really versatile.
sonic landscape, essentially.
Cool.
So over here, you will find yourself with a Gibson Explorer.
Delicious.
Beautiful.
That is a beaut.
Over here.
Mind if I pick them up?
No, go for it.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, I need that too.
That's set up really well too.
Oh, yeah.
Too. Wow, I wouldn't have that. It's a beaut. Where'd you get this at?
These, most of all these Gibsons are actually from my cousin. And so he still is a very big avid guitar collector. And
Gibson bass.
Yep, so you got a Gibson Midtown bass here.
Okay.
This thing is phenomenal. It's one of the only basses where I feel like you can actually hear every single note really clear, and you can almost play this thing like a guitar.
Nice.
And you can make, you know, you can actually play chords on this and it sounds good.
Sorry, I'm weird. I like playing stuff.
No, yeah. Over here you have another twin pair of Gibson Les Pauls, and these are the Supremes. And so this is, you know, if you guys are Les Paul lovers, this is as beautiful as they get.
Oh my gosh, yeah, those are amazing.
So the only difference between the two is just color.
And these, you say these were your brothers?
Cousin.
Cousin.
Yeah, so he still has a whole fleet at his place, and so he's just letting me use these ones.
Nice. Try a cousin like that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Pretty awesome, right?
Play all these. Not in tune, that's okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. That's one thing I don't have yet. Is a Les Paul. I grew up playing Fenders, and
Gotcha.
I love them.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna pay the real price for
Yep.
a real one.
Get a grip. Exactly. So then you got Gretsch. I'm a big Gretsch fan. Cool. So we have a couple of Gretches. We have Tennessee Rose, Chet Atkins edition that I have at my house right now, and then a Duo Jet. And this thing is outfitted with Dynasonics. And so Dynas are like between P90s and single coil. So it's almost got like that kind of telly sound plus the P90 mixed together. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
So this is another beautiful. And then the last one I'll display today is
getting gear lust.
Flying V.
Oh, I love the Flying V's.
Nice.
Yeah, it's beauty. Gibson Flying V, man. You don't mind, huh?
No, yeah.
This is one of the first bands growing up that I wore out their tape was Scorpions.
Okay.
And they played
Flying
V's.
Yeah.
And I was just like, those are the coolest guitars.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I started playing for real, I'm like, oh, this is what I liked. But when I still see these, I'm just like,
nostalgic and brings back all the...
Yeah.
So which one do you want to play with?
Which one do I want? Which one? He's asking which one I want, everybody.
This is Christmas for a year now.
No, we're gonna plug into the. We're gonna plug into his homemade amp here. It's custom. Oh yeah.
Tone.
Even with it out of tone. Out of tone.
Yeah.
Even with it out of tune.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just tell. It's got the a really nice spring reverb unit in it. It's got that nice little.
Oh, it is nice.
Doesn't get better than this.
No, it does not. Everybody. if there's one reason to come check out this studio is to play this through this amp.
Yep.
There's several, but this is. Love it, dude.
Cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is a scientist.
Kind of know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's great, dude. I don't even want to go home and plug in my Fender Hot Rod DeVille now. I just want to have you hand making one.
Yeah.
All right, so we're pretty much by the mic locker, but we're gonna just look at the.
Yeah, we have your standard set of mics,
Right.
your Shure, SM58s, the AKG 414s, pencil mics by Rode, and I think mics everyone has, and it's not worth talking about. But this one is probably no one has.
Why is that?
Even the vintage version, unless you are a millionaire.
Yeah.
And so this is a vintage spec AKG C12. And so this has a 6072A tube in it. And that's the one component that is actually becoming a scarcity in the world. And Telefunken and AKG know that, and they bought up the last supply of it, and they are going to hoard it. Is what they said to everyone. So I have another one of these. Yeah. So I'm building another one of these. And what's really cool about these microphones is, one, it's like the flattest frequency response you'll ever see. Once we put this into the studio, essentially we didn't even have to, the post-processing is so quick now. You don't have to mess with it at all. You got what you needed.
The sound.
Yeah, exactly. And it just sounds great. All the reviews I've gotten from vocalists, it's the first time they've ever felt like they've sounded like themselves through our monitoring system. So it's really, really, really transparent.
So how much
really,
did it
really
cost
clear.
you? You built this one, right?
Yep.
This is the one you
so
built.
this one was about $900 for me to build.
Compared to if you would have bought something like it on the market.
If you can buy this, it'd be about $15K.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And
How long do they take you to build?
takes me a good probably 30 plus hours.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm pretty meticulous and I go through everything
Exactly.
really slow, and it's, I think, one of the reasons why everything I build works really well. But yeah, so I take my time. I don't rush through anything. But what's really cool about these tube mics though is once I build the twin sister, the tubes, since they are so rare, the mics only use half the tube.
Right.
And so the other mic will use the other half, and so when that half goes bad, I just swap the tubes. Cool. And I've doubled the life of these super rare tubes that I'm gonna have to like break into AKG one day to steal.
Very cool, man. Yeah. Another reason to come to Audio In.
That's right.
Recording.
Absolutely.
All right, so Eric is actually queuing up 2 of my songs, which are going to go onto a record, people. Vinyl. That's what the hip kids call it these days.
Yep, so we're just downloading your files that you sent me.
Cool.
We've already have labels made. So you got these nice,
Awesome.
beautiful labels.
Names on there.
And
Cool.
you will end up with a product that's going to look like this. You're going to get your own little 7-inch
Very cool.
and its own little sleeve.
It's too bad I don't have a record player to play it on.
Are you serious?
I can go to my mom's.
Oh, I was like,
No,
what?
this will give me. I've been wanting to buy one for a while.
Uh-huh.
This will give me the excuse.
Yeah, you got to
do
get
it.
one now, yeah.
I know.
So while we're waiting for everything to download,
Okay.
I can explain what we're going to do. So this is a mono head cutter, which means we will only be getting a mono signal.
Okay.
This is the recording platter here. So back in the day, you can set it to 2 different speeds, 33 or 78. Since then, they developed an adapter that averages the 2 and you get 45. So with us, this is pretty much everything on here is original, right? So the motor is still a 1950s motor and it is still spinning at 45 rotations per minute.
So it cuts it. So when you cut it, it's in mono?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, right. That's correct. Yep. So the lathe cutter head is right here, and this is what dictates if it's mono or stereo. And so this is a vintage Presto 6D, and that is a mono cutter head. But you can upgrade to stereo
How
cutter
much
heads.
do those cost?
Invaluable. You cannot find them.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
kind of a off story with this. So I actually had to get this rebuilt, and the only guy in the world that could rebuild it is in Australia. And so sent it over there, paid for the expensive postage and everything, got an email saying like, you got it, great. 8 months later, nothing. Like no radio, like no contact anymore, radio silence, and I just thought he ran off with it and just gonna sell it back on eBay. So it's coming through eBay, going through everything, nothing. And it wasn't until I had some guests stay at my house who were from Australia, lived in that same city, that I had them like contact him.
What a coincidence.
Yeah. One of life's just like beautiful coincidences. That within a week of them getting back and sending out some emails and making phone calls, I get an email saying that this is done and ready to be shipped back to me. So just happy to get it back, right? Because it was one of those, this unit's pretty much useless without it. And we were looking at getting custom ones built. And the guy wanted almost $6,000 just for a custom head to be built. And, that's a ton of money just for a head. So luckily, it's all back and life's good again. Yeah. Things to note is, so back in the day, they used sapphire styluses. And we even have one of those made by Transco. And Transco is actually still around, and they still make these sapphire styluses. And so here you'll see 2 of them. And so this wire right here, I don't know if you can see that, that's the heating element, right? So the idea was you put some voltage through here and you'll heat up the sapphire stylus, and that's what'll allow the acetate to kind of melt and cut a lot easier and give you a lot cleaner cuts. Yeah. Since then, however, diamond styluses have been invented, and there's not one in here.
One of the bands ran off with it.
Seriously. So I don't know if you can see down here,
Here, let me see if I can get lower camera.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to.
I can take this off actually. Okay, so what am I looking at from here?
Just the zoom in to under the cutter head, and you'll see the Yep, so that's the diamond stylus, and essentially we have removed, so they come with heating elements, but they are just so sharp and strong now that there is absolutely no reason to even have the heating element there anymore. And it kind of just gets in the way with the swarf. So essentially these last 100 times longer, and they are capable of being resharpened. One of the curious things about all this vinyl resurrection is Europe has never really let it die, and they have been continually developing new tools and methods and styluses for vinyl. And so since with this resurgence, these guys are now in business better than ever. So we actually get all this imported from a company in France. So there's one guy in France who's been working on this for like 30 years. And he also has developed these cool new vinyl essentially discs, right? So he spent, probably 15 years formulating this plastic material. Originally, I thought I could just outsource this and buy the sheets of it and cut it myself, but it turns out that he actually has a special formula. And that formula guarantees that these are really static free, and the playback on these will last to 10,000, 100,000 plays before you even hear deterioration or any of that stuff happening. Cool. So super awesome, super durable. These are like 150 grams. They come all different sizes. And what I'm holding in my hand here is a prototype that we're testing out. So you'll never ever be able to buy this from a pressing plant because they would have to pretty much redo their whole facility. But 5-inch vinyls.
Wow.
Yeah, so the same size as a CD. So the idea here is you can do,
the CD packaging.
Yep. Oh, well, you could do like a double CD, right? Yeah. So one is the CD,
vinyls.
and then one is
vinyl.
like with singles on it.
Genius.
Yeah, so we're seeing what the interest is. So if you guys want this to happen, let us know, and we will start testing it out and seeing.
That's awesome.
People like it. But yeah, so that's the one cool part about having a lathe cutter is we are not dependent on size. We can go as small or big as we want.
Yeah, cool.
The other thing, so we have every size, and then the other cool little thing we have is we're experimenting with different colors now. And so we have this nice, cool ghost white vinyl that we can also make as well. Nice. This is a nice 12-inch.
That is cool. That's a little stack down there.
Yep, this big stack of vinyls and our sleeves. Cool. Okay, so let's get everything queued up. You do want to be careful not to bump into this or it'll mess up your cut.
Okay.
So our first goal right now is to set all our levels. Make sure we're not going to blow.
Setting levels, okay.
Blow anything.
So you guys are witnessing new technology and old school working together.
Okay, so we're going to do hard to write you as a... Okay, so we'll just do playback.
It's been so long since I've been able to call you friend.
So that's about it. So the levels are set.
Okay.
So, let's see. Do I want to do a test cut? I don't think I need to. So we'll get this going. So here's a nice 7-inch blank that we're going to start with.
Okay.
It has these protective sleeves, nice gloss.
This is exciting.
And then we always apply some anti-static wax
Okay.
to the vinyl. And this just helps give you a cleaner cut.
So do you have to research like a ton how to do all this, or
Kind
go
of, yeah.
somewhere, or
No, I mean, so
just Google?
Google, yep. No, so we're part of a pretty small community of vinyl lathe cutters, and
Gotcha.
within that community is where we were able to find this machine, as well as
Or like a forum online?
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys want to check it out, it's called Secret Society of Lathe.
Secret Society of Lathe. That sounds really secretive.
Yeah. And this is where you can go and get tips and ideas, and also see if there's any available for purchase. Okay, so essentially I'm gonna have this start spinning.
So are you just doing a test cut right now?
No, we're
Just gonna do
we're
it?
gonna cut it. Yep.
Okay, cool.
So I'm gonna hit play over here, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna run back over here, and there you go.
Okay, cool.
It's been so long since I've been able to call you friend. You've been so elusive, I've been wanting to touch base again. But I feel I can't, I feel my water has run dry.
You can see the starting to get the groove.
Emptiness inside. So stop to try.
And the white stuff right there is it's called swart,
Yeah.
and that's essentially the plastic we're removing. That's your music right there.
Wow, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard to write you? You come up with just one line. Every time I try to write you, I end up wasting another night. Turn on the light, and I grab a pencil or a pen. I stop thinking, oh, where have you been?
So how do you dictate
My nose blank,
like how much space is in between one song to the next? Just by hand?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I just pull into a DAW, and I'm looking at total time.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
And if there's enough space, I usually just leave the track alone.
Right.
this time.
But for you, you're only having one track on each side.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be some
And so normally vinyl lathe cutters, they use like a vacuum to pick up all the swarf.
Yeah.
But we're finding that having that vacuum pressure is pulling our needle up.
Oh, it was.
And so just by centripetal force, it's pulling the swarf in naturally towards the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And we've noticed that it just kind of gets out of the way of the stylus, and don't need a vacuum.
By itself.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so there's a couple of things that we're not doing to, I guess, code. I mean, not code. The way that other people have done it historically. But
But it seems to work, right?
yeah, it works, and that's all we care about.
Yeah.
And there's no guidebook or route. Like
No.
it's like you got to kind of figure it out on your own. So
Yeah. It's really like being this is like it's like an old school, like factory type of
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
equipment.
It's
you know what I'm saying?
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
so- It's so foreign to everybody these days.
Yeah. exactly.
It's like, there's parts that are actually moving. It's not chips that are just processing.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you're seeing stuff. And this is what's dictating your speed right here is a spindle.
Yeah.
And this spindle is exactly what dictates how much time can be on a vinyl and the spacing between the grooves. And this is this is
That's
it.
so cool.
So we are about almost done.
Okay.
And then, and then we'll do a playback and you can hear how it sounds on a record player.
Okay, cool.
And so newer units, they actually had a playback arm on this side. And so it would place over here, and so you can actually hear playback while it was cutting to monitor the quality.
Gotcha, yeah. How do you find the quality, though? Like, even...
It's pretty good. It's not as dynamic as, a CD or, MP3 wave would be.
Yeah.
But it is actually pretty good
Cool.
for what we're dealing with. Okay, then I'll do a cutout. And that is how the vinyl is made.
Well, and this is why it takes time and the money to do it. It's just that it's actually in real time. There's no such thing as rendering on a lathe. I guess, it's real rendering, I guess.
But it's real rendering. Exactly. So that is Rich's first side A track right there.
That's beautiful.
So we're going to do a playback. Okay. Make sure it sounds pretty good. And then we'll cut side B.
Sounds good. So does it dry? Like, is there like a drying, like when it cuts, like you can play it instantly?
Yeah, so it's physically cutting the plastic, right?
It's just cutting it, but there's no it's not warm. You can just put it.
So we do warm. That's what the little lamp there on the side is for, is to kind of warm up the plastic a little bit and get it a little bit softer.
Yeah, gotcha.
But the diamond is so tough that this stuff
just
is
right through. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
It's like butter. Music's on vinyl now.
Good job, sir. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Utah Music Producers. I'm Rich Bischoff, and I wanted to thank Eric Lowe for showing us around audio and recording. I love this place. He's got some really cool things to offer. The vinyl lathe. He's making his own preamps. He's building his own mics. You explain to people like where they can find your website. It's just audioandrecording.com?
Yep, just audioandrecording.com.
And then I'm trying to remember what exit I took to get here. Like, what part of Salt Lake am I in?
You are in...
GPS just takes you places.
Yeah, so we're considered downtown Salt Lake.
Downtown Salt Lake, okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, okay. So, I think I passed the ballpark.
Yep.
On the way here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are just like a few blocks away from...
The ballpark, yep.
The ballpark. So, anything you want to say about your studio or anything you want to...
No, the only other update I would like to give would be that we are also going to be able to offer CD manufacturing and print services in the near future.
Okay, cool.
And so we really wanted to design this place to be your kind of... you come in and we take you all the way to the finish line. So you come in, record everything, and our goal is to really actually have everything ready for your CD release show. So that includes the CDs, vinyls, t-shirts, poster, everything, and really make it a kind of one package to cover it all.
Yeah. So this is what's really amazing about Eric and what he's doing is you're getting everything by coming to this studio.
Yep. That's the goal.
It's the whole from beginning to end. you're getting it. And that's what I find pretty unique about this place. We played through his amp he built.
Yep.
He just cut 2 songs on a vinyl
7-inch
wave.
vinyl. Yep.
Showed us his mic, and then he's gonna have some mic preamps that are gonna be API,
Neve, SSLs, everything.
Very cool.
The end goal is our control board will just be completely hand built, just like the old days. And
you'll just have those modules in there, and you can just connect to each one. Yeah, I've seen those in other studios, but yeah, that's very cool. Hey, if you like the channel, subscribe. Also, if you're a studio that wants to do a tour or interview about your studio, or you as an engineer, just reach out to me. I charge quite a bit to do this, so make sure
it's not free marketing.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'd like to thank Eric Lowe, audio and recording. Awesome place. Come check it out. We'll see you guys later.